Hey, Shalom. Kahala Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Waha, Rachakodash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to Yaakim pushing his word in truth and sincerity. Shalom. This is Amathia from the GMS Dallas camp and wanted to go into a quick lesson, Lord willing. This will be edifying to the elect of Israel. As we saw yesterday, it has been a collapse in a bridge in Baltimore. And you have some speculations of the cause of that cargo ship running into the bridge and causing it to collapse. All right, it was some people that was within, well, that was on the bridge that was unalive. They said it was around maybe 6 people, but you just never know with Esau and his media. It could be more. You just never know. But that is what's reported. But that goes to show you that these things that we're seeing, it's coming to the downfall of Babylon the Great. All right, the virgin daughter of Babylon. It's going to be coming to a town near you that this place here, which is the virgin daughter of Babylon, is going to be touched. So you're going to see some dramatic things that's going to happen as far as um, wickedness that's going to exceed and constantly pollute this place. But it's going to cause a lot of reaction as far as rioting, um, fighting, stealing, pestilence, all these things that are getting ready to come upon this place and this land here in the West. And this has all been prophesied, all right, through the scriptures. And this is the modern day Babylon. So these people that's walking amongst you are the Babylonians, the modern day, spiritually. As it says in Revelation 11, this is spiritual Sodom and Egypt. It is also spiritual Babylon, and also spiritual Syria. Everything rolled into one. But what we're seeing here now as the breakdown of, or the collapse of the infrastructures here in Babylon, which I'm going to go ahead and play. This was from 7 years ago from the Bloomberg television. It says engineers give U.S. infrastructure near flunking grade. I'm going to go ahead and play this, and we're going to get a few scriptures. And this is only the beginning. As you see, that was 7 years ago. And we know 7 is completion. Could have been more years that they made some more videos on the infrastructure and the bad grade they were receiving. But you got to think, this is a major deal in here in Babylon, a major deal for a power of the earth. But yet they have uh, breaking down or collapsing of their infrastructure. All right. I'm going to go ahead and play this.
Report add on to what we already know about the country. This report here, it does kind of seem like ammo for the Trump administration, as they and Mr. Trump have painted the U.S. infrastructure as being very meager and struggling and in need of improvement. What does this report add on to what we already know about the country?
Well, this report comes out every 4 years. The American Society of Civil Engineers does a survey of 16 different infrastructure sectors and comes up with grades for each one and an overall grade. And this shows that essentially we haven't made much progress. The overall grade is D+. It was the same in 2013. And you've seen some improvement in some of the sectors and some declines in others. And overall just shows a need to do more to invest in infrastructure. And like you said, the report does an estimate of what the need is to bring the overall grade up to a B, which is what the society sort of determines to be adequate, and it's like $4.59 trillion. And when you count in the available funding that's expected, there's a $2 trillion shortfall.
All right, so some pretty massive numbers there. The president, of course, has said that he plans to invest $1 trillion in U.S. infrastructure, but he's been very short on details. As we know, there's a lot of things that require improvement and funding. What has the president personally expressed interest in? He did meet with Elon Musk, for instance.
Right, and we heard that part of what they talked about, he had questions about the Hyperloop project that Elon Musk is pursuing. And we've heard the president talk about a whole range of different types of infrastructure, from roads, bridges, airports, tunnels, even schools, some things you might not necessarily think of as infrastructure. And one of the interesting pieces of this overall process will be, how do we define infrastructure? What ultimately gets included in this proposal for funding? What do we decide is important enough? Because the needs are great, and you could count a lot of different things as infrastructure. In fact, you're seeing a push now from a lot of different sectors trying to get in on the money, so to speak. For example, we've heard suggestions that national parks should be counted as infrastructure because they need funding and they should get some money out of this initiative.
Mark, we've heard about the potential for PPP, private-public partnership here, as being a conduit for this infrastructure work to get done. Is that a realistic focus that should be here? Is it sort of part of the overall picture? Can a lot of it be driven by that? It does seem like Trump is very keen on making that happen.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be a push, and Trump himself has said this, to get public-private partnerships more in the mix. And the idea is to leverage more of the private sector, that we have trillions of dollars in capital out there that's waiting and wanting to invest and hasn't found a home in U.S. infrastructure projects. The issue is going to be, I think, what is the ultimate mix going to be between public and private funding in whatever package does emerge and get approved through Congress? Because there are folks who would tell you that while public-private partnerships are a great tool and are useful for some projects, they're not feasible or even possible in some cases. For example, if you have a rural area or an area that's low population or income, you're probably not going to be able to get a toll or a user fee or some kind of revenue stream that would make a public-private partnership work. So the argument, even among some Republicans, is that you still need to have the government pay for some of this infrastructure improvement that we need to have done.
Yep.
You got to think, why wouldn't they pay that? You know, when you look at the infrastructure and then look at the people that are suffering here in America, barely making ends meet, you would say, okay, America has been printing out more money, even though we know that's a means to hyperinflate, but yet they're printing out as much money as they possibly can, so they could give it to the people in America. But yet they, instead of giving it and to help constantly build on the infrastructure, you know what I'm saying, constantly or give to the people here in America to help with their everyday living or provide for their households, they have sent what, like $75 billion to for what is that, for Ukraine. Also, what do they send to those small hats? They send like every other year billions of dollars there. You know, it was a bill that went for the like you say, for that the actual having the war around the Gaza Strip. All right, that was back I think last month, and it was, I want to say, $14 billion. Okay, so and and you know what? I'm gonna pull it up here. Listen to this. Yeah, because like I said, they sent 14 or something. So last month, this came out February 13th from the New York Times, and this is just for, like I say, educational purposes. When I'm bringing out the different articles, it says a bill with $14 billion of Israel war in Gaza passes the Senate, but made faulty in the House. Okay. It says the $95 billion foreign aid package passed by the Senate on Tuesday morning. All right. It includes $14 billion for the war against Hamas, though the bill still faces uncertainty. But like I say, they received that money. And then also, when you think about it, they had that the money that was sent over to Ukraine, and that was around $75 billion. And we never know, it could be more. Now, do you know how much they could have did as far as getting people out of the slump of getting Americans out of the, you know, with that pay to get Americans up to par or in standards as far as living arrangements, okay, their situations. All right. America is getting set to be in poverty, you know, but we know that's the scripture. We know it's getting ready for America is on its way downhill. All right. Because one thing about a physical infrastructure, it can cause supply chains, all right, to go down. All right. Um, let's see, like what's happening in Baltimore. And that's one of the things that made me say, let me pull up and go into that and the infrastructure and see, because I remember they said it was back in the day it was going through, it was like a grade D. All right, it was a grade D, and I'm gonna go ahead and pull a scripture here, and because like I say, America's on the way down, and now you see these other nations starting to see that. All right, and like I say, it's starting to hate the whore, all right, that runs everything, and say you can't even clean your own household up. How are you gonna come to our country and try to clean everything up? All right, saying bring a democracy over here, right? This is Jeremiah. Where is that? Jeremiah 50 and verse 23, and it reads. It says, "How is the hammer of the earth, of the whole earth, cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon became a desolation among nations?" All right. So the hammer is actually broken. If you use a hammer and try to use a broken hammer with with a broken handle, or it could come back and hit you in the face. That can cause a lot of damage. Or a hammer that's basically what's there on Thor's hammer on that last movie, which it actually sucked. Love and Thunder, how it was broken apart, or on the second when Hela broke it. If you into that thing, and Marvel's what is that? Thor, the hammer you using it broke apart. So if you use that and try to hammer something or you use it, it could shatter. I'm gonna read it in NLT. It say, "Babylon, the mightiest hammer in all of the earth, lies broken and shattered. Babylon is desolate among the nations," and that's what it's becoming, right? This place that we're seeing, like you say, with these collapse, like you say, of different these train rails that have been happening for the last couple of years. Also the you know the food supply chain with these different fires from the chicken plants. Now you have these bridges going to be collapsing. This is going to cause a major hit in, like I say, for trade and for transporting goods. Even people going to work. Instead of going through their bridge, they may have to go around. It's going to cause a lot of traffic. So this is going to cause a lot of breakdown on things. And best believe it's going to be more to come, as far as collapsing of probably more bridges or different fires or something. Things are going to start happening, and we see that. I'm gonna keep going.
Mark, can you tell us what went wrong with President Obama's attempt to jumpstart infrastructure? Because it's not as if infrastructure is a Republican policy. The Democratic administration also attempted it, but didn't get very far in it. What are the lessons learned from that effort?
Well, part of what President Obama was trying to do with his stimulus proposal in 2009 was jumpstart the economy. So in that case, he wanted to see things done quickly, get money flowing into these projects and people working to get some economic boost. The problem he ran into is he sort of promised that there would be, millions of jobs for shovel-ready projects was how he characterized it. And turns out there really wasn't anything to do as much as shovel-ready, that it takes time to get the reviews and permits for these projects. You can do shorter-term kind of improvements, but sort of the really economy.
I'm going to stop there because it is basically it. Hey, and this is the thing. There ain't jobs out there that help support a person's living, a person and their family living, with the inflation that has came up as far as your living arrangement, how much you pay in rent, mortgage, how much the food has risen up. It was a study showing that you go spend $400 worth of US dollars in Russia, and it comes out to be $180 in Russia compared to $400 here in America. That is, so you thinking America is going to continue being this sunshine nation where everybody was looking to go to? No, people are looking to flee Babylon. All right. These other nations are trying to get out the midst of this of Babylon. You have migrants coming in, but that's the spirit of the Lord to set up for what? For them to receive this fire that's coming, and also to cause help with this havoc that's going to come upon Babylon when the Jacob's trouble come about. And we see that's coming into play very, very soon. All right, this is Jeremiah 50:24. It says, I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou wast not aware that thou art found and also caught, because thou hast driven against the Lord. And what does this say? They have this is where our Lord was crucified. They have X'd out the Lord. All right, they have X'd out the ways of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? And you have people here in Babylon, they're unaware of what's going down and what's about to happen. They're still looking at thinking that the president is, who we can bring in office this time to help continue, or help better America, that make America great again and all that. No, it's not going to be great again, because being that great is getting us back into slavery. I'm talking about so-called blacks. Oh, wait, mine was black, Latinos, and Native Americans. And that's not going to happen. That's when America was at its peak in its power. And the results of it was going into the 80s and the 90s. But now you're finna see this downfall. And it's not going to get back better. All right? It's not going to get back better. All right? So this is going to bring forth, like I say, debt society. This is what Babylon is carrying. All right? Modern slavery. You work until you 1 foot in the grave, and then they finally say, okay, you can sit down. And you have people here in Babylon, they leave work and get off work and then have to go back. You know what I'm saying? They retire, but then have to go back to work. They don't care, like I say. And then these roads are terrible. You buy a car, then you messing up the axle and all, because so many damn potholes, so many damn cracks in the streets. These buildings are no good. They constantly, and now you see the technology is there, but they build things and move so fast now, where you can have a big office building, 12 to 20 stories, and it's been built in a matter of months, 3 months. You think this is going to be a steady building? No, you should be uncomfortable in these things. But yet you have people that's losing their jobs, and then finding jobs that are not making enough. Do you see the downfall that's happening here? Can you see it? This is Isaiah. It's Isaiah 14, and I'm gonna start at verse 4. It says, you know what? I want to read it in the NLT. I'm gonna read it in in the King James. Then I'm gonna go to the NLT. Isaiah 14 and start at verse 3. It says, it shall come to pass in the day of the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve. All right. And this was where we came over here to the Americas, or to the West, to serve what? To serve to serve the wicked one. All right. To serve. This is where we were to serve our punishment for what? Going off, not listening to the Lord, being wicked niggas. All right. This is what we were brought over to. But what it says in verse 3 in the NLT, it says, in that wonderful day when the Lord gives his people rest from sorrow and fear and from slavery and chains. All right. Because we're still in slavery. This is modern day slavery. You have to get up and go to work. You get on what is it called? Points. You had to call in, or you have to leave work. You get too many points, you fired. I'm gonna go back to. I'm gonna continue reading in the NLT. It says, "You will taunt the king of Babylon. You will say, the mighty man has been destroyed. Yes, your insolence is ended." In the KJV, it says, that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how has the oppressor ceased the golden city? The Lord has broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. And it starts with breaking down that the infrastructure, And like I said, I mentioned this country was built on the backs of Jake. And then he put in a debt society. How can you get out of something that's a debt society? Everything you go into, you don't make enough money to buy everything cash. You can't buy. You know, the mass amount of people, 90% of the people here can't buy, just go and buy houses. They want in cash. You know what I'm saying? They can't just, you can't have people that retire when they still in young, a good condition, not in your 60s and 70s, you know. So like I said, this is debt society, modern day slavery. They put you through that debt society by giving you through these taxes, all right, mortgages, you know what I'm saying? Setting up the division of the family, pushing the men out the house, all these things that Esau has set up. This is, and like I say, who Esau, the so-called white man, who runs Babylon. Yeah, better take heed. So we see this downfall. It's like I said, starting with the infrastructure. All right, the economy collapsing. We seeing all these things that's about to come into play. All these things about to come into play. So I'm gonna finish it off here. This is Jeremiah 51:7. Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken, and nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain. If so, she may be healed. We will have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go, every one into his own country, for her judgment has reached unto heaven, and is lifted even to the skies. All right, so the Lord is letting us know by measuring the time that we're in, seeing the events that's happening, that the judgment the judgment reaches to heaven, and we finna see a lot of destruction coming upon Babylon. All right, and we have to pray that the Lord have a cover, because we know through faith and belief that the elect is going to get through it. We just got to constantly endure. So with that, call halal Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Waha, Rahakadash, double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to Yaki and pushing this word in truth and sincerity. Shalom.